to discuss any operation until it actually takes place. We'll see if that happens.
Tom, this week the Catholic bishops sent out a special message. They said they think that countries can secure their borders, but they don't like these mass deportations. What's your message?
So according to them, the message we should send to the whole world is that if you cross the border illegally, which is a crime, don't worry about it. If you get ordered removed by a federal judge after due process, don't worry about it, because there shouldn't be mass deportations. Is that the message we send to the whole world? People are going to put themselves in harm's way to come to the greatest nation on earth. They're going to spend their life savings against the criminal cartel. We saw during the Biden administration, when there was no immigration enforcement, over 4,000 aliens died making entry in historic record. 250,000 Americans died depending on historic record. Secure borders save lives. I wish the Catholic Church would understand that. We have the right to secure our borders like they have the right to secure their facility. You can't enter their facility without getting arrested. Matter of fact, the penalties for entering their facilities are much worse than ours. So, we're going to enforce the law. And by doing that, we're saving a lot of lives. Secure borders saves lives. And one of the reasons no one talks about why we have the most secure border in the history of this nation is because exactly what ISIS is doing. ISIS sent a message to the whole world: don't give your life savings to come to the country, because you're not going to be released. You're not going to cross the border illegally, you're going to be prosecuted. So Catholic Church, you're wrong. I'm sorry. I'm a lifelong Catholic. I'm saying it as not only at borders, I'm saying it as a Catholic. I think they need to spend time fixing the Catholic Church, in my opinion.
On H1B visas, did you take the president's visa?
That's still being discussed, so I have no time on that right now.
There are reports out of London that British intelligence is no longer sharing intelligence with the US following the break.
First of all, it's out of my mind, but I don't think UK is a friend of this country, a friend of the president. I don't think there's skepticism, and I'm not familiar with not sharing intelligence. Again, out of my mind. I'm a border guy, so that's a question for the ex-secretary or the Secretary of State.
Any more on the protest outside of the Broadview facility? Any more on the protest outside of the
Look, they got breaking protests. Have at it. Don't cross the line. I was watching a video before I came out here. When they put hands on law enforcement officers, they're getting arrested going to jail. You have a right to protest, but don't cross the line. If people would just look at the data, the way it reads, that what ICE is doing, the vast majority of public safety trust, I know some of you here say that's not true, because they're not criminals, they're not convicted yet. If we arrest somebody in a county jail or state prison that has a criminal conviction, well, it's not, DUI. Like I read one report says, well, a lot of these are DUIs. That's really not a crime. Really? 12,000 people a year die from DUIs. I consider that a significant public safety threat.